What's the difference between energy and demand? What about kilowatt versus kilowatt hour? If you've ever looked at your SWEPCO energy bill, you've likely noticed that you're being billed for kilowatt hours. What does this mean exactly? In this video, we'll look at the difference between demand and energy, and I'll show you that when you use electricity can be just as important as how much electricity you use. Knowing the difference will give you a greater understanding of your monthly electric bill. It will also shed some light into how our electric grid will be able to handle new technologies like electric vehicles, and most importantly, how you can save money on your SWEPCO bill. Most people understand that their electric bill is directly related to how much electricity they use, and this is true. However, a more accurate statement would be that most electric bills are based on how much electricity a person uses, when they use it, and in some cases, the maximum demand or load. In other words, how much electricity is used at a certain time. So what is demand? Demand is simply a representation of the rate at which electricity is consumed, and it's measured in kilowatts, or kW. In other words, the amount of electricity people use at a certain time means the demand for electricity will either be higher or lower, depending on how much electricity is used. For instance, most people get home from work around 5:30 in the evening. Once home, they turn on their lights, TVs, and ovens to start cooking dinner. This means that the demand for electricity will be higher at 5:30 in the evening than it would be at 2:30 in the morning, when most people are asleep with their appliances and lights turned off. This also means that the grid has to work harder at 5:30 in the evening to meet our electricity needs. So that's demand, but what about energy? Energy is what's needed to keep the power going for a certain amount of time, or the accumulated amount of power used over a certain period of time. It's what you see on your SWEPCO bill. Energy is expressed in kilowatt hours, so the amount of electricity you use during a specific period of time, like your billing cycle, is measured in kilowatts per hour, or kWh. To use an example, imagine a 100-watt light bulb that's turned on for 1 hour. That light bulb will require 100 watts of energy for 1 hour, or 100 watt-hours. Now imagine that same 100-watt light bulb being left on for 10 hours. That one light bulb will use 1 kilowatt hour of energy because 100 watts times 10 hours equals 1,000 watt-hours, or 1 kilowatt hour. Still with me? Now imagine 10 separate 100-watt light bulbs turned on for only 1 hour. Those 10 100-watt light bulbs also use 1 kilowatt hour. The amount of energy used is the same. However, the 10 light bulbs will have 10 times the demand because they're all on at the same time. Let's look at electric vehicles as an example. Many people argue that our grid is unable to handle the adoption of electric vehicles. Mostly, when this question is brought up, people are referring to the amount of available energy. We have enough available energy to make the switch from gasoline vehicles to electric cars. Production and availability of energy is not the issue. The potential issue for the grid could come if everyone begins to charge their electric vehicles at the same peak hours of the day, like our 5:30 p.m. example, which would be a demand issue. A way to lessen the strain on the grid would be to charge before you head off to bed. Just like our phones, when you wake up, your EV will be charged and ready for the drive. Other solutions include smart chargers, which only charge vehicles during non-peak hours, regardless of when you plug in your vehicle. This technology is similar to smart thermostats for your home. Doing this, EVs will use the same amount of energy, but use it in a more efficient manner, thus easing any possible strain on the grid. So what do demand and energy have to do with your electric bill? SWEPCO has a number of residential energy efficiency programs that provide monetary rebates and incentives to help your home become more energy efficient, saving you both energy and money every month. These energy efficiency upgrades include air sealing, weatherization, HVAC systems, Energy Star products, and Level 2 EV charging stations. For more information on these programs and other ways to save, please visit swepco.com/save.